Hello and welcome to Simply Abide. My name is Hannah and this is the third video in our Ruth study series. If you missed the other two videos, I will have them linked below so you can go back and catch up on those before we move into the third chapter. In the end of the last chapter, which is Ruth Chapter 2, we learned that Boaz was actually a redeemer to Ruth and her family. This means that in those times, a redeemer was someone who was charged with the duty of restoring or righting the wrongs of another. So in this case, Boaz was the redeemer for Naomi's husband and sons. And since Ruth and Naomi had lost both their husbands, Boaz was the one that was supposed to redeem them if they had any trouble or anything they had to repay. But with that in mind, let's pick up in Ruth Chapter 3. Then Naomi, her mother-in-law, said to her, "My daughter, should I not seek rest for you, that it may be well with you? Is not Boaz our relative with whose young women you were? See, he is winnowing barley tonight at the threshing floor. Wash therefore and anoint yourself, and put on your cloak, and go down to the threshing floor. But do not make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. And when he lies down, observe the place where he lies. Then go and uncover his feet and lie down, and he will tell you what to do." And she replied, "All that you say I will do." So she went down to the threshing floor and did just as her mother-in-law had commanded her. And when Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was merry, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of grain. And she came softly and uncovered his feet and lay down. At midnight the man was startled and turned over. And behold, a woman lay at his feet. He said, "Who are you?" And she answered, "I am Ruth, your servant. Spread your wings over your servant, for you are a redeemer." And he said, "May you be blessed by the Lord, my daughter. You have made the last kindness greater than the first, in that you have not gone after young men, whether poor or rich. And now, my daughter, do not fear. I will do for you all that you ask. For all my fellow townsmen know that you are a worthy woman. And now it is true that I am a redeemer. Yet there is a redeemer nearer than I. Remain tonight, and in the morning, if he will redeem you, good. Let him do it. But if he is not willing to redeem you, then as the Lord lives, I will redeem you. Lie down until the morning." So she lay down at his feet until the morning, but arose before one could recognize another. And he said, "Let it not be known that the woman came to the threshing floor." And he said, "Bring the garment you are wearing and hold it out." So she held it out, and he measured about 6 measures of barley and put it on her. Then she went into the city, and when she came to her mother-in-law, she said, "How did you fare, my daughter?" Then she told her all that the man had done for her, saying, "These 6 measures of barley he gave to me, for he said to me, 'You must not go back empty-handed to your mother-in-law.'" She replied, "Wait, my daughter, until you learn how the matter turns out, for the man will not rest, but will settle the matter today." So in this very short chapter, we can learn a few different things from Ruth. Even though probably some of these customs that Naomi was telling her to do was very strange and she was uncertain about, she still did them and obeyed her mother-in-law. Sometimes God will direct us in ways that we are uncertain of or don't really understand completely, but we still need to obey him just the way Ruth obeyed her mother-in-law in this situation. Something that we can see in this chapter is that Ruth was a worthy woman. Boaz actually says that to her, and that a lot of men in the town actually saw her as a worthy woman. This is actually something that, as women of God, we should strive for. What does our reputation say about us? Would people describe us as a worthy woman? Ruth had this great reputation, and the men and everyone in town knew her as such. So the definition of worthy is actually this: having sufficient worth or importance, worthy to be remembered, or honorable. Ruth had something very special. She was seen as honorable and showed importance that was worthy to be remembered. And that was because she knew who she was in the Lord. She had her confidence placed in him and let him direct her life, as we have seen in the past few chapters. And this is a great trait that we need to learn from and develop in our own lives. We also learn that there is possibly another man who is before Boaz in the line of redeemers that is able to redeem Ruth. But he is going to go talk to him in the next chapter. We have not seen that yet. But he is going to go talk to him, and he wants to do this quickly because Boaz is actually very pleased with Ruth, and he respects her for coming to him first because he is one of the older men in town. He's not young and probably not the handsomest man there, but he is very thankful that Ruth sees the good in him, and he wants to complete the task of being the redeemer and seeing if this other redeemer would actually do his duty in redeeming Ruth or giving the job to Boaz. So he was very honored in her request and wanted to get this job done quickly, and we will see the outcome of that in the 4th chapter. Just like that, God is our redeemer, and we can go to him anytime. We can ask him things, we can pray to him, we can just have conversations with him. And if you need redeeming, you can ask him and he will redeem you quickly, just like this picture of Boaz and Ruth. God is waiting for you to come to him, to come to his feet as Ruth did to Boaz, and ask him to be your redeemer. So that is all for this chapter of Ruth. The 4th video will be out very soon, and that will be the last video in this series. If you're wanting to dive more into this book of Ruth and learn more about Ruth's character and what it means to cling to God in the hard times and become a worthy woman, definitely check out my Ruth study that I wrote a few years ago. I will leave it linked in the description below. It is a 4-part study that lets you dive very deep into the book of Ruth with questions at the end of every study and printables of verses that you can take away from each chapter. Again, if you have missed the other 2 videos, I will leave them linked below, but I will be back very soon with the 4th part of our Ruth study. Thank you so much for watching.